today I have some TN sized notebooks that I bought. I still haven't gotten or bought my first TN, but I have been using the passport sized refill over here, and I am almost done with it. So that's why I thought I should maybe buy some standard sized notebooks that I could use. These are not actually from Traveler's Notebook. I found a shop called Paper Shop Japan that's located in Japan. And I think all of these were actually released in 2019. But the first one here, it's by a company called Hutte Paper Works. I don't know if you can see that, but it's Hutte Paperworks. It's a gray notebook that has florals engraved into it, and then a quote. And then this one is, and this is from a company called Papier Platz. And the designs, I think this was in collaboration with this company, the Hutte Paperworks. So they did the cover, and the paper should be the same. And this one has a different paper. It's also cream colored paper, but it's a paper called, I had to ask, but it was called Kinmari paper. It's a light cream Kinmari paper, and it's a graph paper. But this is also papier plates. So basically what I want to do for this video is kind of test out the paper, because I have no idea how the paper will actually react to different things, like in terms of shadowing or bleeding through. So that will be definitely informative for me before I get started into writing or using these for journaling. So I'll go ahead and start with this Mulberry one. I really like this. It has red stitching on the side. And you can see the stitching obviously in the middle of the book. And like I said, it's like a light cream Kinmari paper. I've never heard of Kinmari paper before. And it's like a dotted graph paper. Or a square grid, basically. But yeah, the actual... yeah, it's a dotted grid. I'll open it up to a page. And like just start testing it out. These types of notebooks is actually very difficult to have them like lay flat, so I'm using a washi tape for now. The thing I'm curious about is the Shachihata ink, how it will perform on this paper. And then I also have a couple of fountain pens. I want to test out the writing experience of my Sailor and also of my Kawiko pen, because that's a bit smoother. Okay, so I just have a few stamps here, because mostly what I'll be using, anything that would like test out the paper. this paper should handle a lot of things, but I'm mostly curious about this stamp ink. Okay, and so that went on well enough. Okay, so there is a bit of shadowing, but it did not bleed through, I don't think. There's a dot here, but I don't think it's from the... Okay. So let's try other stamps as well. I'll just do a few to really test things out. And so there has been no bleeding through. This looks crisp enough. Pretty good, actually. And so the next thing I'm gonna have to test is a fountain pen, how it feels basically. This is obviously my Sailor Pro Gear Slim Midday Sun, and I just filled it up with Lennon Tools Bar Silky. So it's like a deep purple ink. It feels pretty smooth, I think. I mean, it doesn't feel like... I feel like Midori paper, the MD paper, is actually smoother. I mean, I do feel the difference. Like, there is some resistance. So it's not as smooth as the MD paper, but it's still, I think, a pleasant writing experience. And I should mention that this is a fine nib. And now I'm curious how the Kaweco, which is also a fine nib, but obviously this is a German pen, so it will be thicker. And I have a green ink in here, Alt Gold Grun by Roher and Klinger. It feels smooth. Obviously, Kawekos are a lot smoother than Pro Gear Slims. Like, sailors typically have a bit more feedback. But I definitely do notice a difference between like this and the MD paper, for example, but there's no bleed through. There's no even any type of shadowing or ghosting. Like, it's actually very hard to see. Like the Shachihata ink pad that I just used, you can definitely see that. But it's honestly not so bad. And then you can see the writing over here. It's actually barely ghosting. It's definitely a lot harder to see, which I'm very pleased about. Like I said, this is a fine nib. I know this is probably harder to see on the video, but this is indeed a cream colored paper. How does it compare to the Midori? I find a blank page. I only have like one page or a couple pages here. This is the difference. This might be a tad bit darker, but honestly, it's not that different. And so that's the Mulberry notebook. Now I'm curious about, put that to the side. Now I'm curious about this, the notebook by Hutte Paperworks, and it uses its own paper, I think, called Hutte. I don't know how to pronounce it exactly. Just pronouncing it the Japanese way, which would probably be like okay. And so this says Field Poppy. Hutte Paperworks established 2009. There are little florals engraved into this. It says notebook on the top. Oh, there is some texture to the text. I think there is some engraving in the text as well. Wildflowers of the Four Seasons, inspired by the wildflowers which tell us the change of seasons. Their pure and beautiful figure heal us emotionally. It says published by Propeller Studio. The interesting thing about this is the stitching of this is a brown, yeah, it's a brown thread, not even a gray one. And I actually like how that looks. And this one is completely blank with no lines or anything. And this is a cream paper. The inside of the cover, you can actually tell that it's been engraved. And you can even see some of the text. I mean, you can't read it or anything, but you can see the texture. So even the text has some engraving, which I really like the detail of that. For like a simple notebook, it's pretty nice. Oh yeah, I should mention the prices of these. For all three notebooks, I spent some, like the cost of all three notebooks together was something like, I think, $14. It was $14, and then shipping and handling was $16. I had PayPal credit, so that's how I was like able to kind of justify the shipping prices and everything. But it does ship from Japan. So for shipping prices from Japan, that's not too bad. $16. So two of these notebooks are sold out. This one is not sold out, but the other two are. Okay, so I'm just gonna open a page. I'm gonna do the same thing with this one. I'm gonna put a washi tape to hold it down. And so this is a cream paper by Hutte Paperworks. Okay. So no bleed through. There is shadowing and ghosting. I'm not the biggest paper expert, so I really could not tell you too much about the quality of this, but I do like it. I feel this paper might not be as smooth as the Kinmari paper I just tried. At least with the Kaweko, it's a bit more apparent than the Pro Gear Slim, which is very interesting. Yeah, I definitely feel it more with the Kaweko, but I think it's still good. This notebook has a bit more pages than the other two. This one has, I think 40 sheets, and so like 80 pages, and the others have 32 sheets, making 64 pages. I think that's right. Something similar. I mean, this should have, I think, between 15 and 20 more pages than the other one. Not sheets, pages. But only a few more sheets. I think this actually looks very nice though. Like, it's crisp, it's clean, the way the stamps are. There's no bleeding, there's no feathering. And the other one feels the same, so I'm pretty happy with that. I was nervous about even buying these notebooks because I did not know about the quality of the paper. Like, if it could withhold the Shachihata ink as well as the fountain pens. But I think it looks nice. Like, it's pretty crisp and clean. We'll compare this with the MD paper. They're very similar. Honestly, it's sometimes really hard to tell. Like, I cannot... I feel like the MD paper is actually a bit more cool toned. And by the way, this is MD cream paper. It's a bit more cool tone than this one, which feels... I think it's a bit more warm toned. It's so hard because there are some shadows playing around in my room and the light as well. Okay, and I'll do this one as well, but this and this should have the same paper. Okay, this is obviously by, over here it says Hutte. So it's in a collaboration between Hutte and the Papier Plats. And you just have a bunch of different botanical plant species with their name. And then on the back, it says lemon, and there's the lemon fruit with some leaves. On the side, the threading is a soft green color. It actually looks really nice. I'm glad they didn't use like a beige color just because the contrast makes it look really good. It's like a very soft green. Like a light soft green. Okay. So yeah, same thing here. Okay, nice. Yeah, there is no bleed through. This should be the same paper, the Hutte paper, I believe. Bleed through, there is no type of smudging or like it's pretty crisp, I think. That feels nice. So yeah, no feathering. It's a pleasant writing experience. At least from my experience with paper. I usually write on Tomoe River paper and then more recently MD paper. I would say it's not as smooth as MD or the Tomoe River paper, but still pretty good. Like, I really like it. I mean, the stamps actually work better on this paper than the Tomoe River paper, but I think it works maybe the same as what MD works as. But those are the two things I'm pretty much looking for in a paper that just works with this Shachihata ink without bleeding through or smudging or bleeding or without feathering. And the same with my fountain pen inks and pens. Did it transfer? It transferred a little bit, so I guess it's not completely dry yet. That's another thing I should have tested, but it looks mostly dry. Look how quickly it dries on this paper. But I just closed it and there was like no transfer. Just a few from the stamps, a few dots, but it's pretty much overall dried, I think. Okay, and so that is basically it. I have these 3 notebooks. Almost done with my MD one from Traveler's Company, and so the next one I'm going to switch to, I think, is this one. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about actually using this. Okay, and so that's it. Thank you for watching.